Hello guys, welcome to Smartland Kenya YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend. Today we are going to discuss Integrated Science School-Based Assessment 2025 Grade 8. So without further ado, we'll go straight to the questions. The first question, the picture below shows a bottle containing medicine. So that's a bottle. As you can see, it contains some medicine, and the bottle is written on calcium carbonate, sodium alginate, and sodium bicarbonate. These are what are visible compounds that are written on the bottle. So let's continue. From the label on the bottle, identify two elements that are represented in the medicine. So we have the obvious ones that you can see. The first element that you can easily see is calcium. So you can write calcium. The second one that we have that can be seen straight away is sodium. Have another one from the carbonate. We can get carbon. The question said 2 elements, and I've given you 3. So the next question, give the chemical symbol of one of the elements identified in A above. So the one that's the symbol for one element. As a learner, you are supposed to write symbol for one element. For example, for that one for calcium is Ca, or you can write for sodium, which is Na, or you can write a symbol for sodium, which is just letter C. Any of it will be accepted and will be used. So the next question, which is question 1C, it says one of the substances found in the medicine is calcium carbonate. Identify by ticking in the table below whether calcium carbonate is an atom, a molecule, or a compound. So calcium carbonate is made up of 2 elements, which is calcium and carbonate, and a pure substance that is made up of 2 or more elements chemically combined is a compound. So automatically calcium carbonate is a compound. So you're supposed to tick because they've said indicate by ticking. So that's what you're supposed to write. The next question, let's read it. The pictures below were taken by learners during a visual art class. So these are the pictures. Learner 1 took a picture of a rusted nail. Learner 2 took a picture of a broken glass. Learner 3 took a picture of stretched rubber band. And learner 4 took a picture of sharpened pencil. So let's continue with the question. So the integrated science teacher used the pictures to explain physical and chemical changes in substance. So from these pictures, they used to explain physical and chemical changes in substances. So identify the learner whose picture was used to obtain a chemical change. So a chemical change in most of the cases, it is irreversible. You cannot reverse it, and a new substance is formed. So when we start with the rusted nail, sure, a new substance has been formed because the nail was a clean one and a new one, but it has finally rusted and a new substance is formed. Broken pieces of glasses can be recycled back into a bottle, so no new substance is formed. Stretched rubber band can gain its shape later, so no new substance is formed. Sharpened pencil also remains as a sharpened pencil, so no new substance is formed. So eventually a chemical change here was given by Lana 1. Chemical change was shown by Lana 1. The next question, give 2 reasons for your answer into A above. So I've said chemical changes. The first reason should be new substances formed. So your answer, new substance is formed. Number 2, you cannot reverse a chemical change, so you just say irreversible. It is irreversible. You cannot reverse it. So the opposite of chemical change is physical change. So physical change, on the other hand, no new substance is formed. Another thing, it is reversible. So we'll continue with question 3. Classes of fire are categorized depending on type of material and fuel for burning. So there are 2 here. They said they are categorized according to type of material or the fuel for burning. So learners identified some materials in their environment and grouped them into classes of fire as shown in the table below. So classes of fire. So class A contains paper, wood, and plastic according to how learners classified. So these are just combustible solids. They can catch fire easily, but they're solids. Class B, we had paraffin, oil paint, and petrol, which are basically flammable liquids. So let's read the question. Identify what the learners considered in grouping the material into the 2 classes. So we have types of material and fuel for burning. That's how the learners were categorizing them. But when you look here, we have already solids and liquids. So that means the learners based on type of material. They based on type of material when categorizing or grouping those materials into classes of fire. So give reason for your answer. Give a reason why water would be used in controlling class A fire. So water is a cooling method of controlling fire, which basically means it removes the heat. Water removes the heat. Water removes the heat. Identify one way of putting out class B of fire. So you can use a fire blanket. Use of a fire blanket. What it does, it removes the air, and finally the fire is put out or is put off. You can also use a fire extinguisher, and in this case you can use a powder fire extinguisher or a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. You can use sand to remove fuel, among many more other methods. Here, they're asking for one, but you should never restrict yourself to one. There are more other methods that can put out class B or fire apart from the one I've just written. So question 4. A cell is a basic unit of life. Cells have components which can be seen under light microscope, which is true. So name one component found in a plant cell and not in an animal cell. So remember, a cell is the smallest basic unit of life, and as the question is saying, there are components which are in plant cells and not in animal cells, and these components include them in organelles like cell wall. Cell wall is one of the component that is in plant cell and not in animal cell. We have chloroplast, which is a site of photosynthesis. It's not in plant cell. It's not in animal cell, but it's in plant cell, among many more others. Sometimes, the vacuole disappears in animal cell, so you can also write vacuole. It's a component that is in plant cell and not in animal cell. The next question. In an investigation, the total magnification of an image of a cell was found to be times 200. When the magnification of the objective lens of the microscope was times 20. Work out the magnification of the eyepiece lens of the microscope. So you need to know the formula for total magnification. Total magnification, I'll shorten it like that, is equals to eyepiece lens magnification. Eyepiece magnification times objective lens magnification. I'll just leave it like that. So what we're basically doing it, we substitute everything into the formula. So she'll start with the total magnification, which is times 200. So we take 200 is equals to eyepiece lens magnification, which we don't have. Let's use letter E to represent it, times objective lens magnification, which is 20. So to get the eyepiece lens magnification, you divide both sides by 20. So this 20 and 20 will cancel, leaving E on that side. Then finally 20 will go into 210 times. So your eyepiece lens magnification, which is, I have abbreviated it as letter E, will be equals to times 10. Putting the times is very important. If you forget it, you are cooked. The next question, which is question 5. A learner seated at the back of the classroom applied a perfume. Soon after, the smell of the perfume had spread throughout the class. One of the learners said the smell had spread by the process of osmosis. Do you agree that the smell spread by osmosis? First of all, osmosis always deals with water molecules. Osmosis deals with water molecules. So anywhere if they are not mentioning water molecules anywhere, never at any given point say the process is osmosis. So here what we are talking about, or we are dealing with, is the smell of a perfume, which is basically particles of air from a perfume. So this process cannot be osmosis, so your answer should be no. Because osmosis deals with water molecules moving from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. So explain your answer. You can use whichever way. You can speak using the diffusion terms, or you can you can write using the osmosis terms. So let's use osmosis terms. Explain your answer. Because osmosis deals with the movement of particles from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. So for this reason, the process is not osmosis, or rather you could have said this is because diffusion is the movement of particles from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration, which is the process by which smell of the perfume spread in the class. Yes. So the next question: sexually transmitted infections show different signs and symptoms in human being. The chart below shows signs and symptoms of various STIs. Draw the line to link the signs and symptoms that are specifically for herpes. One line has been drawn for you. So already you've been told that the signs and symptoms for herpes, the first one is swollen lymph nodes. Some STIs, we have 4 main STIs that we learn in junior school. The first one is gonorrhea. Another one is syphilis. Another one is herpes, which is in the question. And herpes. And last but not least, we have what we call HIV. These are STIs, or sexual transmitted infections, that are what we're supposed to learn in the junior school curriculum. So these sexual transmitted infections, they have their own unique signs and symptoms. And in another video, I'll be talking about them. But today, specifically, we are on herpes. So what are the signs of symptoms of herpes? The first one is swollen lymph nodes. It's been written there. Another one is rashes on the face. Another one is blisters may appear on the private parts, which is the main sign of herpes. And last but not least, we have itching in the private parts, which is basically, itching in private parts. It's basically a sign and symptoms for gonorrhea also. So, Salam, please go ahead and read about the sexual transmitted infections. The next question, which is the last question, shows a picture of a tractor in the farm. And let's read the question. The picture shows a tractor plowing a farm. The tractor has wide tires that help it move on the soil without getting stuck. The tractor goes up and down the hill to plow the whole farm. As it moves, energy changes from one changes from stored energy, which is potential energy, to moving energy, which is kinetic energy. Of course, kinetic energy is energy in motion, and potential energy is energy at rest. And both again and back again. But using the tractor to plow farms in Kenya is not good for the environment. Using the information and the picture above, use the following words to complete the statement. So the words are: we have pressure, area, force, and energy. Only 4 words, but we need to fill in the blank spaces. So let's go. Tires of a tractor are wide to increase because they are wide. Of course, here we are talking about the area. So to increase the area, which is the surface area, so that to reduce, so when we increase the surface area, we reduce the pressure. To reduce the pressure with the force remaining constant. Force remaining constant. Remember, pressure in solids is equals to force over area. So we're just playing with this formula when filling this question, as simple as that. So the next question, which is the last question, or second last, complete the table below to show the form of energy gained by the tractor as it moves up and down the hill. So when it's moving down the hill, it is increasing the speed. So eventually it is gaining what we call the kinetic energy, which is kinetic energy in motion. Kinetic energy, which is energy in motion. When it is moving uphill, it is reducing in speed, meaning it is slowly gaining what we call potential energy, which is energy at rest. Potential energy. Potential energy. Like that. So state a reason why the use of tractors is not good for the environment. So we clearly know that tractors will produce smoke, and this smoke will pollute the environment. So produces smoke and sound, which pollute the environment. 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 So that marks the end of our lesson, and hopefully you've gotten something from it. And thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and on top of that, tell a friend. This is Smartland Ken.